Don't know what to cook for supper? No worries. Let's just boil some water. It's that simple. Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. I'm Jen Jones, founder of JenJonesCoaching.com, where I help ambitious moms thrive at home with health, wealth, prepping, and homesteading. So today we're going to be making a simple meal in a jar that you literally add water and boil. It's really that simple. So let's get cooking. Today we're going to be making a Mexican-inspired meal. We're going to be making a burrito in a jar. So it's freeze-dried ingredients, dried ingredients, and it is every prepper's dream. And so it's great to make up these meals in a jar to put in your prepper pantry. So if you've not subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that now. All right, so we are going to get started assembling our burrito in a jar. So all you need is a quart jar. I love to use a canning funnel to fill it up. What I love about meals in a jar is that they're quick, they're convenient. So when you have busy nights as a mom and you don't want to cook, you like dump a jar in and you boil some water. So it's super awesome to be able to assemble these meals and have them ready at your fingertips, all right? And they're quick, they're healthy, they're shelf stable, and it just makes life so much easier. So let's start assembling the ingredients. All right, so the first that we need is 1 cup of our beef, and you can do chicken if you want to as well. So I'm going to add in 1 cup of ground beef, and this is freeze-dried ground beef. All right, so let's get that in there. We're just going to layer these ingredients in. All right, so a cup of beef. Next, we're going to add in a cup of instant white rice. So this is rice that's been cooked and then freeze-dried. So a cup of instant rice. Having these meals ready is such a lifesaver. So whether it's a busy night, it's an emergency, disaster situation, like you are set to go. Next, we're going to put in 3/4 cup of instant black beans. So this, again, these are beans that have been cooked and then freeze dried. So we're going to do 3/4 cup of these. And again, these beans have been cooked and then freeze dried. All right, so this is a 1/4 cup, so there's 1/4, there's a 1/2, and our last cup. I'm gonna get the oxygen absorber out of there. Okay, and then we're going to kind of jiggle this down in there because we want to make sure that we get all of our ingredients in there. Next, we're going to use tomato powder, and this is a tablespoon of tomato powder. And I will put the links down below of the products that I use, so it's easy for you to get them. We're going to do a tablespoon. So here is a tablespoon of that. Okay. Tomato powder can be very potent, so you want to be very careful with it. Next, we are going to put in a tablespoon of chicken bouillon. Now, this is a spin-off of a recipe from my friend Jara, and you can also put in like 1 to 2 teaspoons of lime powder if you would like to. I'm not super fond of lime, and so you can either add that now or as a powder, or you can, squeeze limes at the end. Then next we're going to put in chili powder. All right. Now I have a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'm going to do 2 of those. So there's a 1/2. And there's 1 teaspoon. Next we're going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. So let's get our onion powder. All right, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Next, we are going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. That's garlic powder, again, 1/2 teaspoon. So isn't this just pretty, just watching this build up in your jars? And you can, I encourage you to try a meal once and then make multiple jars of them for those that you like. All right, then smoked paprika, we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of that. Next, we are going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. Looks like I'm about out of cumin. Okay. And then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of freeze-dried onions. What I love about freeze-dried onions is that you don't cry when you have to, you don't have to cut them up, you don't cry. And when you do freeze-dried, they stay the size that they are. So there's no changing in the size of them. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of onion. Okay. I hate cutting up onions, so freeze-dried is the absolute best. And just having ingredients like at your fingertips all ready to go. So those busy nights, you forget to put out something for supper like I frequently do. And then you can put in 2 tablespoons of mixed bell peppers if you want to, dehydrated ones. I don't like them, so I'm not going to do that. And then next is freeze-dried green chili peppers. All right. So you can see the size of them. Again, that's the size that they're going to stay. And we are going to do a 1/4 cup of green chilies. Oh, they smell so good. All right, so get them in there. And then we're going to give our jar a little shake to put things down in there. All right. To put in instant black beans, and I just realized as I was doing this, the instant black beans were supposed to be 3/4 cup and then a 1/2 cup of refried beans. All right, so I did that wrong, but we're not going to take that back now. So I'm just going to change these around. So I'm going to do a 1/2 cup instead of the black beans. So just remember, it's 3/4 cup of instant black beans and then a 1/2 cup of refried beans. So we're going to turn this around. Oops, get the oxygen absorber out of there. So it's not going to really make much difference, but it's all right. Now you can see how full that's getting, right? So we're going to give that a shake down, and then we have one more ingredient to get put in there. All right, so what's great about this is how it's amazing how much you can actually get in there. And then our last ingredient is going to be freeze-dried tomatoes. Again, I don't like cutting up tomatoes either, so let's see if I can get this all in here. All right. So do a little shake, shake, shake. All right, and then you can see how that is completely full, right? Isn't that beautiful? So then if you want to do this for long-term storage, you would put a 200 cc oxygen absorber in there. But if you're not going to do it for long-term, you can simply just put the lid on it. All right. Isn't that beautiful? And then you can just have these on your shelves ready to go for you, that you literally only just add water. So next we're going to cook this up. So I'm going to grab out my cooking stove and my saucepan and we'll get cooking. So now let's go ahead and we're going to cook up this burrito in a jar. So it's a quick and easy prepper pantry meal in a jar. I love them because seriously, you get home at night and you don't want to cook. What do? Boil some water. So let's go ahead and get this going. So we're going to dump this into our skillet. God, that smells so good. All right, so all of those ingredients go in there. And then we're going to add to it 3 1/4 cup of water. Okay, so let's put in our 3 1/4 cup of water. I like to put it into the jar because then you get all of the extra seasonings that's in there. So let's get that in there, and then we're going to stir that up and get everything all moistened in here. Okay. And I'm just using my little single burner. Sometimes, I've used the butane cooker. I mean, like, you can really use whatever. You can do this on your stovetop, but you have to think about, like, if you're in the prepper mode, right? Like, you have to think about, like, no electricity. But for tonight, I'm just going to do it on the electric burner. And you can actually even like cold soak this meal because everything is cooked, right? You don't even have to heat it up. But I'm going to bring this up to about a medium heat, and then we're going to simmer for 5 minutes. So, okay, so this has started to come to a bubble here, a boil. So I'm just going to give it a stir, and then I'm going to let it go for about 5 minutes, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to give that a stir, and then we'll put the lid on it again, and I will be back. So this has been simmering here for about 5 minutes, so let's take a look and give it a stir. It's already, look at that, thickening up. Smells delicious already. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to turn it off and let it set for about 10 minutes to completely refresh it all. And then we'll check on it, and then hopefully we can plate it up. Okay, this has got a couple more minutes to go. So in the meantime, I'm going to refresh some cheddar cheese to top our burritos with, all right? Well, we definitely don't need the oxygen absorber in there. So I'm going to pour a little bit of water in here, and then we just kind of shake it up, and then it will refresh itself, all right? So just put the lid on this. Okay, and then I'm just gonna toss that around, get that water all mixed in there so it can refresh. All right, so we got a couple more minutes to go, and we'll be back to be able to plate this up, and you'll get to see all the goodness. Okay, let's check in on our burrito in a jar. Doesn't that look lovely? Oh, it smells so good too. I love Mexican food. So it looks all hydrated here, refreshed up. So I'm going to check a bean and make sure that they are done. They're nice and soft. And the burger, everything's all done. All right, so let's get this plated up. So got our shell here. So let's get that in here. You could do this as a taco salad, your chips, right? So get that on there. All right, and then I have also refreshed the tomatoes, so let's put some of them in there. All right, those are in there, and then we've got our refreshed cheese. We can put that in there, so let's sprinkle some of that on. All right, and there we have it, okay? I am going to take a bite of this. So let's see how this tastes. All right, give me just a minute here. That is really good. So what's nice about these meals is that you can, I'm going to actually put the lid back on it so we can have it warm for supper. But what's really nice about this, having these meals in a jar, you know, try out the recipe. You like it, then make yourself multiple jars of it and then have it on your shelf. So on those busy nights, you know, maybe you're running crazy with the kids or your schedule and you want a quick and easy meal, you just go to your prepper pantry, pull out a meal in a jar, add the water to it, and voila. You have a simple, easy meal at your fingertips. And there you have it, a freeze-dried burrito in a jar. Quick, easy, simple, nutritious for you. So whether you're a busy mom, you want to stockpile your prepper pantry, this is a great meal to have. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe channel and let me know down in the comments what you liked best. And I will be back next week with another video. So be sure to watch the videos that are popping up for more great tips. Remember, we were created to thrive, not just survive.